Why are you still doing this? Because this is a young man's sport.
You know what, man? I don't know. Some days I wake up and I go, I don't know why I'm still doing it. But then I get, you get through that first workout. You take that first couple steps out of bed in the morning. You kind of get moving around. You're like, well, I kind of like still training. I kind of like still learning. And then now that I'm changed camps for the most part, I still claim Extreme Couture as my gym, but I'm really doing a lot of training here at Cobra Kai with Layman. I'm seeing the same stuff in a different light. So it's actually giving, you're teaching an old dog new tricks, even though they're the same tricks. So it's still kind of cool, still kind of neat. I got to be honest with you, I'm no Randy Couture. I'm not going until I'm 47, 48. I mean, how old is he? Do we even really know? 46. Yeah. I mean, do we really know how old he is? I think he's lying about that too. That I can't do that. I don't have that kind of experience, that kind of draw. But I think I'm able to pull out for a couple of years. Like I said before, when I came back to UFC, I want to have one more good, solid run. Had a little hiccup against Koscheck, but we're hoping the run comes to and then once I get one more run at it, I'm gonna hang it up and call it a day, and then move on to something else. It's just, but I really like it, and my son sent me a quote the other day that you can do a lot of things in your life to gain respect, but the true measure of respect is how your kids talk about you to their friends. And I overheard my son actually, just before he sent me that quote, I heard him talking to his friends on the phone about how he likes what I do, whether I win or I lose. And he really doesn't care if I win or I lose, but just the fact I get up every morning and I just put my nose to the grindstone and just run at it. And it kind of, from a pride aspect, it's kind of cool for me. So I don't want to let that go.
Well, I was going to say the other part of it that it hit me is you're sitting there. It's hard to walk away from the competition. This is something you've been doing probably for 25, almost 30 years now, and just being in the environment is cool.
I've been a high level competitor since I was like 6 or 7 years old. I'm 37, so you're talking 30 years of me being a competitor. I say high level as a kid. I mean, you're 8 years old. How high can you really be? At one of the better schools, we're top 10 when I was at the University of Oklahoma in wrestling. Was on the Olympic ladder. Of course, I was the lower end of the Olympic ladder, but I was on the Olympic ladder. And then, I've kind of been in the top 10 except for right now. I think is the only time I've been ranked. I haven't been ranked in the top 10 the last 8 years. And you're right, man. Like I don't know how guys like Barber, he walked away and went right into a broadcasting job. Like, I don't know how he walks away from it. How long I get walking away from when he did. His neck was really bad arthritis. He was really, really hurt. He really couldn't play the game anymore. Singletary, how did he walk away? Like I don't understand, man, because he's still viable. He can still play the game. But he's told me, and he said on TV too, but he told me directly because of the connection with Glazer. He just went, I just hated working out. I got tired of working out, and I went, you know what? I still like working out. Yeah. So I'm gonna hang out with it for a little bit longer. But I say that right now. Yeah. If I lose this next fight, I might be forced to retirement. I mean, I'm gonna have a choice whether I want to do it or not anymore at all. Right.
Well, it's a grind. I mean, it's pretty neat. You walk in here and you got Division I national champion wrestlers and Rochalt and Roller and Johnny Hendricks, and you got a former UFC champ in Forrest Griffin here. Obviously, all that you've accomplished. So it's pretty neat here at Cobra Kai. Now that said, Sarah's kind of going through the same thing. I mean, he's a little younger, but he's he could be looking at the end of his career. He's suffered some frustrating losses here, and he also I think makes a really nice living with his gym. So I mean, he could move on if he wanted to financially.
Well, that's the difference between him and I is that my career after is going to be hosting. That's what I want to do. I want to commentate and I want to host shows, and that's what I want to do. It's really difficult to break into that game because I've been trying for the last 3 years. Man, I had a great job with Pride, and then when that went off the air, that was it. Like I really had no more commentating jobs. One off and go, and hope for the best. Sarah, when I'm punching him in the head, he's gonna be thinking the back of his head. Going, you know what? I can teach a couple more guys, get some brown belts, and make a lot of money doing that. Why didn't he keep getting punched in the face? So for him, he's got something else. He's another option to go to. So he's not really going to get in that desperation set of I need to fight and win this fight. Where I'm still kind of desperate. Like really, if they told me today you can't fight anymore, you're done fighting, I'd still be like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do for money. I might have to go work at Subway. Like that's a reality for me. Like I don't have the ability to turn around and go, I'm going to start teaching. Go back to my school and put full time in my school and make a bunch of money like Sarah does. So, I'm still fighting from a little bit of a point of desperation where he's kind of, eating a lot of pasta, eating a lot of pizza. I mean, he has said that, he stopped doing all that. I mean, I'm joking, but, he kind of has a really good life outside of the fighter portion of it. He's a really good coach. He's got great schools. He's got great students. I mean, I don't know why he's even still fighting because he probably makes just as much, if not more, just being a coach.
It's interesting. It definitely is. He has said that you have a face that he wants to punch. Yeah. I don't know, what does that mean? Well, I mean, is that a mouth or a face?
I mean both. I kind of have a mouth that's built for punching. Everyone likes to shut me up, and of course that I'm the first to tell you, hey, I got beat. I mean, what do you want from me? I mean, I ran my mouth and got beat. Yeah, okay. that's okay to me because I went out there and tried it. I tried in every aspect. I tried to entertain the fans by talking about it, try to get people to get irritated at me by talking about it, and then when it didn't go my way athletically, it's okay. I'm fine with that, because I tried. I didn't go out there and not do it. I went there and tried my best. So he's right. I do have a face that's kind of built for punching. People do like to shut me up. People there's a lot of fighters out there that don't like me for one reason or another. Things I've said about them, I've done to them, throughout my career, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that because for me it's all a game. Like I don't care one way or the other about anybody I'm fighting. I just go on to the next guy. And right now it's Sarah, and he's an angry foot-stomping midget, and that's just what he is. And I'm a guy that's got a tramp stamp. So it's like, okay, that's just what it is. That's the game we're playing right now, and but it's honestly like I think it'll be the first time, so I can get a good photo shoot when we weigh in. I'm actually have to get on my knees so we can look eye to eye.
Look at you. Now you're the tall guy.
First time ever. First time ever.
For this fight, aside from backs against the wall and staring at the end of the career, there is a carrot. It looks like maybe for the winner of the fight. Could that be another fight against Hughes, or is that a fantasy because Matt doesn't want to face you guys? He seems to have some different goals, and no one can really figure out what he's looking for.
Who's Matt's next opponent?
It's going to be Renzo Gracie.
Okay, I beat Sarah. Who's Renzo's main student? Sarah. I don't think Matt's going to get by Renzo, to be honest with you. That fight's a tough fight for Hughes. That's a really tough fight. I can see if Sarah beats me and Renzo wins, then who cares? Because Sarah's not going to fight Renzo. He's not going to fight his master. That's just disrespectful on anybody's mind point. I wouldn't agree with them fighting each other either.
There's no call for that fight anyway.
No, there's no call. I don't see Joe Silva and Dana and Lorenzo even asking for that fight. That's kind of especially because Renzo is such a great guy and he's such a good character. But I beat Sarah. There's a storyline for me to beat Renzo if he wins. But there's also a storyline for me to beat Hughes. But let's be honest. Hughes beat me fair and square 2 fights. He beat me when it counted. The belt was on the line, and I wanted that belt desperately both times, and he kept them and embarrassed me both times. There's nothing I can do about it. It is a piece of history, and that's the way it is. I beat him. If we fight a third time and I beat him, so what? I'm 1-2 against him lifetime, and I beat him when he's basically on his way down after being pound for pound the best fighter to ever play the game ever. And when he was fighting, he beat every guy that was in the top 10. He didn't get a guy that won a show and fought him. He didn't get a guy that somehow snuck in the back door in Hardy, which I think Hardy's a good fighter, but I don't think he's the next guy. I think either Koscheck and Swick proved that he wasn't because he lost to him. But I think Koscheck's like the next guy in line for that space. Hardy's going to get a fight against GSP. GSP isn't fighting guys that unfortunately, because the way it's set up at this point for him to fight those top 10 guys, where Hughes in his prime was fighting everybody he was fighting was a top 10. Even the guys that were bailing out of the fights, they would replace him with the guys who were better than the last guys before that. So, you have to give Matt props for what he did. Hughes was a great fighter when he was in his prime. I beat him now. He's kind of his downslide. He's in the end of his career. Really, what's it do for either one of us? The one thing it does do for me is it catapults me into the top 5, and now all of a sudden I'm in a title hunt. If he beats me, it does what? I beat Trigg 3 times in a row. Yay! Weapons aren't going to come out of the ground, and hot chicks aren't going to come around jumping all over the place, and no one's really going to care. I think because it was a number 3 fight of all time, Hughes and Trigg Part 2, and the number 1 voted by fans of all time, of the top 100 fights. I think that is the reason why people want to see it. But the reality of it is, unless it puts me in a position to get myself back in a title hunt, I'm really not interested. I'm really not. He beat me fair and square twice. I just have to live with that for the rest of my life, and that's just the way it is. And for him, I wouldn't see why he'd want to fight me either. He's like, I already beat that guy twice. It's just stupid to have a third fight. It doesn't make any sense.